Check it, check it, check it, check it, check. Check, 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 check. All right, I think we're good to go. All right, good evening, everybody. I hope everyone's had a great time and is ready to go for the week. Hope you got some rest over the weekend, and I hope everyone's ready to have a interesting week. Got my Ohio State mug here, repping my alma mater. Okay, so we have a lot of stuff to go through today, so let's go into preparation for the upcoming week. There have been some interesting developments over the past week, and so let's take a look and seek out what we might be able to seek out and go from there. So let's head over to the charts. Okay. So for this week, we always start by looking at the economic calendar for the week. We see that there's some volatility that can happen this week. We see tomorrow. Oh, whoops, it's actually not. CPI is not tomorrow, my bad. I'll change the header for this video, but we only have a 2 p.m. federal budget balance, which is, nothing spectacular there. I anticipate Monday will be a lot of choppiness. I don't anticipate Monday to be the best day to trade. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty and direction, and so I want you to be careful on trading on Monday. This is something that Michael would probably tell you as well, and there's reasons why behind that, and we'll go over those in a few moments that are very important to know. So later on this week, we've got CPI on Tuesday. We've got PPI, Empire State Manufacturing Core PPI on Wednesday, followed by crude oil inventories, which if you trade oil or Canadian pair. Thursday, unemployment claims, of course, and a whole bunch of Fed speakers as well. So that's going to be a weird morning. And then Friday, building permits and housing starts, which can bring in some volatility there. So that's what we get to look forward to this week. And let's go into the charts. So we're going to go from a higher time frame down, okay? So let's take a look on the monthly chart, right? Disregard everything that's not a bright red line on the monthly chart. So we see on the monthly chart that we had come up to a kind of a little bit into this fair value gap. We traded up to the top of that, but we didn't close above that. So what that tells me is that we still have some room up to fill in this gap, potentially create some movement up into here and take this out before heading lower. But that being said, if I take a look at this, we have a swing high here. We broke this short-term high, short-term low. We have a short-term high, higher high. We have a higher low on the monthly. Let me zoom in on that monthly candle so you can see it a little bit better. I know there's a lot here, just bear with me. But we see that we came down. Actually, this will be a lot easier if I remove drawings on the monthly. It's just too tough for you to see. I can see it because they're my annotations, but I want you to have a clear visual of this. So as you can see, we came down into this buy side imbalance, the consequent encroachment of that, and we've now since jettisoned upwards, right? And basically what we've got here is we have imbalance remaining to the downside, which we have not filled in, and we've gone past the midpoint of it, but we haven't closed below the midpoint of there. So what does that mean? Well, if this month of November continues the way it's going to aim for these relative equal high. Well, the close here being 16,052 and the open being 16,062. It's going to aim for that because there's some unfinished business up here. Do I think that it continues running and goes for all-time high? I don't. I think that maybe it goes to take this, create relative equal highs, and then let's see what happens then. Because what I would like to see, I mean, this is going to sound really bad, but in the long term, in the coming year, I would like to see us form a relative equal high here on the monthly. I'd like to see some consolidation here to form what's called a bull flag on the monthly. And then I'd like for it to take this out, take out the monthly, and then just dump based on Ron it girl. Hey, Ron it Geary. Hey, thanks for joining. Oh my goodness, what has happened? NASDAQ just dropped like 10 points out of nowhere. So we're doing some higher time frame analysis for the week, okay? I'm just going from a monthly level because this helps drive bias. So we can see that we're still on this uptrend currently. Technically, on the monthly, we had a short-term low, a higher low, a higher high, and a lower low broken. Lower high, lower low, lower high. Higher low, higher high. So market structure has broken to the upside. This will lead me to believe that on the monthly, we are still headed to the upside. On the grand scheme of things, we can certainly see, and I'm going to put all my annotations back. It's going to look a little bit messy, just forewarning, but they're necessary. So what I want you to pay attention to here is that we have from this high to this low, we can clearly see that we've come up to the 70% mark and we've retraced up there. Now, if we were bullish, I would anticipate that we would have traded to this upswing equilibrium point, traded all the way down to there first before heading upwards. This market is really weird, but I anticipate us, maybe we won't even get above this short-term high and then we'll create a lower low. I don't know, but I do see that we have lower area of liquidity to go. So this monthly, if you can see here, from this monthly low to this monthly high, there's this whole imbalance here that we went to the consequent encroachment of and then bounced up. So we have only hit the consequent encroachment of this and we've headed back up rather remarkably quickly. So I anticipate that we will likely have FOMO buyers thinking that, hey, the next bull market is here. But that being said, there is still liquidity left down below here, and we haven't hit equilibrium yet. So I do think that we will go up to go further down still. Do I think that we're going to come all the way down here and take out these relative equal lows? Well, if maybe the world goes to crap, maybe. But this is a monthly. So we're going to take a look into the weekly to see what we can see next. So on the weekly charts, so we saw that down here, market structure, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, higher low, higher high. That shifted there, and now we're hitting higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and we kind of started to head back downwards. Higher low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Now we have a higher high. So I anticipate that we'll probably head for the week. We left this weekly fair value gap out. So there's one sell side imbalance here that got traded down through, of course. We've traded up through it, candle close. And now we kind of can treat that. Supposedly we can treat that now. I'm going to be Ronit Giri. I'm going to be taking on the 50K Top Step funded account combine soon this month using ICT Silver Bullet 10 a.m. session. Awesome, dude. I'm so glad that you're thinking that you're ready to take on that combine. So Only you know when you're ready, right? So a lot of my friends and a lot of people, traders in my uh, circle, have taken the Top Step one as well. So they like it. I think they like it because they can take out withdrawals much quicker than Apex Trader Funding, which is what I use. To trade the 10 a.m. silver bullet, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. session, I mean, if that's your model, then you just need to be very nimble and be very, very clear with how much you're going to risk. So if you haven't watched it yet, go watch my risk management video. And then go watch ICT's risk management videos as well. I was actually reviewing a Forex risk management video right before this. And excellent stuff there. But as long as you're risking not the entire amount, like, as long as you're not risking an insane amount per day, you'll be fine. Just be very, very wary of Top Step's withdrawal limits and limitations, because I believe with Top Step, there's something weird where even if you take a withdrawal, your trailing stop has trailed up. So be careful with that one. Just make sure you read and understand the trailing drawdowns. So anyways, back to market review. So we have a weekly imbalance down here. I'm going to mark that out because I don't have that marked out yet. So we have this one here. We've traded through this one, candle close, and now we've traded up through this one as well, candle close. So I anticipate that we will head down to this volume imbalance on the weekly, which we've traded up to, and I think we're going to trade down to at least this volume imbalance here. So I'm going to mark out these fair value gaps here. So this is one that I need to mark out as well. And then also I want to mark out the low, which is down here, right there. I'll get the exact level in a moment. So this is the high of 14,950. So let's put that there. 14,950. Let's make sure we have that there. And let's label that as well. 14,950. This is a discount BISI low, untouched. I did watch your risk, Ronit Giri. I did watch your risk management video, and if my max loss is $2,000, I'm going to be using only one contract of MNQ. Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, absolutely. Since I don't know how long you've trained and back tested your 10 a.m. silver bullet entries, I don't know how long you've traded demo. So I can't really, it's hard for me to tell your experience with it and paying attention to it and like spending hours and hours back testing on it. So I hope that you've spent the time and invested the time before you buy that Top Step one, because remember, Top Step, that's a monthly charge. Same with any other evaluation account. It's a monthly charge. So just make sure you have the bankroll. Your job is paying you enough so that if you need to go another month on it, fine. Make sure you have enough to pay for that monthly fee, because that's where that a lot of people just see that as another internet expense. Is what I tell people. It's payment for what you need in order to get what you need, get what you want rather. So good luck with that, Ron Giri. I would recommend you spend a lot of time on the higher time frame charts as well, kind of like what we're doing right now, and map it out. So this is what we do every single week before the week starts. So let's get back here. So we're still on a weekly chart, right? So this low here is 15,138. We already have another value there that's 15,138. but we will put the weekly chart there because it is stronger. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to mark 1538, previous short-term high, premium BISI high, and we will say premium BISI high on the 1 week time frame. And we're going to mark this as weekly, so I know that color code is there. All right, so I'm gonna remove some of these weekly inflection points now that we've traded up through them, and we will keep some of the other ones there. So what we might want to do is increase this, send it out over time. Let's see, this is November 1st. We're now on the 17th. So what we would want to do is extend this over time and extend it to the end of the week that we're currently trading on. So any PD arrays that we are looking at, any PD arrays that we are expecting to see reaction off of, we want to make sure that those are extended out through time, and that they are extended out through time to the end of the week that you're currently trading on, because the price will refer back to it. So I have this sell side imbalance, which we've traded up through now. So what does that mean? Well, if this truly is bullish, a shift in market structure here, if it is, then we would see that this could trade down to this sell side imbalance and immediately rebalance higher. That's what I would look for. This particular week, I think we're going to head down, fill in this gap, and maybe go a little further. I mean, there is this fair value gap, which is untouched. So that is something that we will mention as well. And then I'm going to mark this not only as a SIBI high, but more so as a IVF inversion fair value gap high. So and I'll actually keep that SIBI there so I know it started from the downside and now it's balanced to the upside. So we're going to keep this in reference here. Remember this level, this weekly level. It's going to be key, okay? So outside of that, we also know that there's this buy side imbalance here that we mentioned on the weekly, and we don't know if it's going to if we want to see a truly bullish movement out of this, we want to see this fair value gap on the weekly remain. So this one here, from this low to this high, we want to see this remain open. We don't want to see it come all the way down there, or at least to the midpoint of it. We don't want to see this come all the way down to the midpoint of this. Let's mark that there, though, just because we are diligent chart ICT members. So let's make this into something that's a little easier to see. And what we're going to do is we will mark the midpoint here, 50.044. That's what we'll give it here. And we're going to make it into a weekly dashed line for our consequent encroachments. And we're going to mark this here as well. 1 week discount, buy side imbalance, consequent encroachment here. Ronat Giri, I still have more time left before I take on the combine. Okay, cool. And I am still running the demo for Silver Bullet Strategy. Great. That's awesome. Best of luck on your journey as well, and have a good night and day. Awesome. Ronat Giri, congratulations on taking the first step out there. Don't give up. I know it's going to be I hope you're the genius that sees everything in the silver bullet, but definitely don't give up. Be prepared for some swings in emotions, but if you can get past those, you will have no problem following ICT's concepts. Okay, so good luck. I'm looking forward to hearing about how you do. Don't by no means feel obligated to tell me how you do, but if you do well, let me know. If there's some things that I can help you on, topics that I can speak to, also, drop me a Twitter message or something like that, or comment on one of my YouTubes, and I'll try to see what I can do. Okay? So back to the weekly, we have this weekly imbalance. Remember, we don't want to see it come down to the discount, buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency, consequent encroachment. If it does, I will expect it to head down and trade lower. So if we're expecting price on the weekly to return lower, considering it's reached an hourly fair value gap from before, let's see what happened on the daily. Insert name here. Let's go. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. We're just going through some higher time frame analysis. Now, remember, notice how much time I'm spending on the higher time frames, right? That's kind of key for any seasoned ICT trader. You need to be spending a lot of time on the higher time frame analysis, because that's what's going to guide your bias for the lower time frame, right? So we see on the daily that we have closed above this short-term high. That is very interesting to me, right? And what do we have above us? We still have some unfinished business up here, and a volume imbalance that's sitting way up here. I don't know if you see that, but let's mark that up here. I'll get the exact ones later, but yeah, so there's this volume imbalance that hasn't been filled in. There's this daily fair value gap, which also hasn't been filled in. Let's make sure that we draw this out over time to 5 p.m. I like doing mine to 5 p.m. on the week of, just so that I have those available. And we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to 5 p.m. have this drawn out. I think I need to move it to the correct week. So as you can see, these purple daily imbalance lines, let's also make sure this low 15,923, 15,922, let's make it right. And give it some juice here, right? Let's make sure we can identify it when it is waiting there. It's still a premium high. We're going to mark it as untouched, though. Okay. Michael Tapiero, hey, what's going on, brother? Good to see you here. Thanks for joining again. We're just getting through the daily analysis. So, what am I missing here? Oh, that's right. So this high here, 15,856.25. So this high, 15,856.25, this is what actually is remaining in this total daily fair value gap here. So for that reason, I'm going to say this is a premium SIBI low up there. So price still hasn't gone up there and taken it out. So if we are to continue higher and remain a bearish stance on price can certainly come up here all the way up into this area next, assuming dollar is weak and is heading down. So these are relative equal highs up here as well. 15,719.75 on daily chart. We've already broken, or rather shifted, market structure to the upside. I anticipate we will take out an aim for, well, let's zoom in on the daily candles for a moment here. Okay. So currently we see that Asia is running, it's 15,580, it's down 60 points already, and it continues to sell off. So it will be quite interesting to see how we end up selling off. I think we'll end up aiming for this high of 15,453.25. We could, if we are bearish, I think that we'll treat this as a bearish order block right here because it's got confluence with this consequent encroachment of the hourly fair value gap that we talked about at the end of the week, right? So currently we have opened, and then we have gone up briefly, and then we started selling off. So I think that we'll probably end up seeing a little bit more of that. At least in the beginning of the week. Now, we have ranged up quite a bit. Typically, when that happens, there's a little bit of uncertainty on the Monday following. So just be careful. I mean, I don't think we'll see a giant range day lower, but I mean, it's always possible because Asia and London just continue to drop. I would be mindful of this previous short-term day high, short-term daily high. I'd be mindful of price there, seeing if it comes down to it, rejects and bounces off of that volume imbalance. It's a weekly volume imbalance, so we'll go back to the weekly chart to check that out. On the daily, though, there's definitely this area which could certainly be used as a potential inversion fair value gap, right? But currently, we've gone through it already. We're in the process of going through it. And so let's draw that out over time. And let's do the same for, actually, let's, this is a bearish order block that we're inside right now. So let's make sure we take this one, take it out to 5 p.m. and bring it out to the 17th. So now we have this balanced range. So depending on what we do, we could see price bounce off of this and immediately rebalance to the upside and take out these relative equal highs here. That could be an approach that I'm anticipating. Early shorts will also get squeezed if that occurs, which is also a second confluence that could still happen. It could head all the way down to this bullish order block here on the daily. Right below that volume imbalance, you could peak down into there and then just completely bounce up to the next area of liquidity, which is relative equal highs here. So that's what I'm thinking potentially could happen. And then I think this short-term high might be superseded by one of the order blocks that's nearby here, this bullish order block here. I think it'll trade straight through it, but let's see. Okay, so let's extend these out over time, make sure that we can see them on our charts this week. And I do think that I no longer need that blue line that's hiding here because we already have something at the short-term high there. So, okay, so we have our daily levels here. We know that on the upside we have our levels, but what about on the downside? So remember, we still have from this week, this is a previous weekly, and then I'll say previous weekly / daily missy high. So remember, on the downside, we have this low here, and then this is a buy side imbalance on the daily, and then we have this buy side imbalance on the daily, and then we have this buy side imbalance on the daily. So there's a lot of stuff waiting to the downside. Okay, I don't know if and when we'll head down there, but for sure we will head down there and take that out at some point. And what's going to be really interesting is if we take out what I would expect to see. Okay, I think that there's still some movement higher to get above this short-term high into this daily SIBI. I think that we can go up here and take this out, take this, oops. Take this short-term high out, take these buy-side imbalances out, and then we can still head downwards to take these out. It just, there's too many of them there to not draw price downwards. And if tomorrow ends and forms what is this form here, right? I'm gonna zoom in so you can see it a little bit easier. So if tomorrow ends anywhere above the low of this candle, then this forms a short-term low. What I would be looking for next is if we create displacement below there, come back up, and then take it further down. That's what I'm looking for. But I mean, we started a pretty steep descent this morning during Asia. So typically during a giant range week, we see some consolidation on Monday. So I don't know. That's a general thing that I've noticed, and maybe it ranges down too. I don't know, but Mondays are very less probable. They're good for scalping, a few points at a time, but I don't think you're gonna see the massive runs that you'll see. I think you're gonna see come New York. You're gonna see a lot of wish-washy price action. So that's on the daily. We anticipate it continuing downwards to fill out the rest of that daily premium SIBI imbalance. Maybe bouncing here, depending on if it wants to treat this entire sell side imbalance as a inversion fair value gap, basically. So we're gonna watch out for that. While we still are macro bearish with this change here, this displacement above, it does kind of feel like it's wanting to head upwards for a little bit at least. So be wary on the short side. Do not try to pick a top. Do not try and pick a top. Let the trend run its course first until you see a break on short-term high or short-term lows and displacement below short-term lows. You know, those are the rules that I will follow. So let's go down to the hourly next. So I need to get some rest soon. Been going on for half an hour here. So this is your hourly chart, right? So those are the daily levels that I had mentioned. This is the short-term highs, buy-side liquidity that I had mentioned as well. You can see clearly that price has been reaching up towards that. And we actually took out a separate relative equal high here. So lots of room to move down first to move up further later on this week. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are caught FOMOing and buying. So I think that it's going to kind of like take those people out as best it can. And then reverse course and head further upwards with some velocity, you know. I think that could certainly happen. So let's take a look at the day here. So we see that last week we created this low, this low. This is the only relative equal low that we saw here. Yeah, I think that we'll need to watch out for this high of 15453.25, because this can certainly serve as a kind of bullish breaker here if it drops down to the high of 15444.25. So I think that's where we're going to go first. Consolidation Monday, maybe some slight movement to the downside, and then we'll have to see what happens here. If it trades all the way down here and trades through people's, you know, short-term lows here, because that's a lot of relative equal lows on the hourly, then I will be satisfied. So I mean, I see this movement up. Actually, we might need to sneak to an hourly or a minute chart, just because I don't think you're going to be able to see this as well. Okay. We also don't need the 5-minute breaker anymore. So I'm going to take that out. Okay, so one of the concepts that I used yesterday, for demo trading, of course, was the concept of swing grading. You'll hear about this in 2023 model. You'll hear about this in 2022 model, I believe. But what I noticed in the past was that when we hit a swing grade of 25% and it immediately reacts like that, chances are that's the right, that's the direction that I want to be in. Let's see. Okay. Nothing too crazy here. Let's go back to the hourly. So, I mean, you can see all this liquidity down here. Every single one of these is liquidity. Yeah, I mean, I think that's all I can do right now for the monthly prep or the weekly prep. We need to see how Asia and London form. I would like to see them form a bull flag because then I can know to take that one short at some point later on in the day. And yeah, I think that's it for today, though. There's nothing too crazy. I mean, you already know my targets to the upside, but I do think that we'll have to have a Judas swing in order to hit them. Now, keep in mind there are targets to both sides now. There's relative equal lows to the downside, and there is there's not as much to the upside minus that daily premium Cibi that's untouched. So I don't know. I think that's really it. I mean, Michael, insert name here. You guys have any questions before I close down? Tomorrow morning is going to be a little bit goofy. Well, that's about it then. I think that I will go ahead and close out then and get some rest today. So awesome. Okay. Michael Tapiero, let me know if there's anything else you guys need or any other topics. Actually, let's take a look at S&P daily as well while we're here. Oh yeah, S&P is more interesting. So there is room. So we see displacement lower. We saw this breaker break. There's room to the upside here still. So I think that S&P for sure is going to want to come in and fill in the rest of this daily premium Cibi high. I think that's inevitable. I think that price will continue upwards before it continues downwards. But a daily short-term high. It is right beneath another set of, I guess, another trader, or sorry, short-term high is what I mean. It's right below, also it's right above a short-term high, and it's right below or in the midst of a sell-side imbalance, buy-side inefficiency. Because of the nature and the size of those, I would be hard-pressed to imagine that people are willing to tank this. I think we're going to head higher before we head lower. So, Michael Tapiero, see you tomorrow. Absolutely. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm gonna record action as always, and I'll come in a little bit in the morning to talk through what I see forming today. There's no guarantee I'll trade tomorrow because of how bad I think the setups are going to be very difficult and with multiple different fake confluences. So, okay. All right. Well, with that is it, team. That is all we need for today. And I'm going to end up going to drink some water, get some rest. Hope you all get some rest as well. And we'll catch up with you bright and early tomorrow morning. So have a great sleep. We'll see you in the morning, and good luck tomorrow. Okay. Take care. Good night.